What are the types of communication protocols used by PLC? PLC uses several types of communication protocols, including Modbus, Profibus, Ethernet IP, and Profinet. What is a fail-safe circuit in PLC? A fail-safe circuit is designed to default to a safe state in the event of a failure. For example, in an emergency stop circuit, the default state may be to stop the process. What is a watchdog timer in a PLC? A watchdog timer is a fail-safe mechanism that resets the PLC to a safe state if the program fails to complete its scan within a certain time. What is a PLC subroutine or function block? A subroutine or function block is a piece of code that can be defined once and reused multiple times in a PLC program. It can be called from various parts of the program. What are PLC programming standards? PLC programming standards, such as IEC 61131, provide a standardized approach to programming and documenting PLCs, enhancing interoperability and maintainability. What is a shift register in a PLC? A shift register is a high-level instruction that is used to move bits into and out of a word. It's often used in conveyor system applications. What is the difference between syncing and sourcing in PLC? Syncing and sourcing refer to the direction of the current flow in a PLC system. In a syncing configuration, the current flows from the load to the PLC input-output. In a sourcing configuration, the current flows from the PLC input-output to the load. What is an encoder and how is it used in a PLC system? An encoder is a sensor that generates pulses in response to motion. In a PLC system, an encoder can be used to measure speed, position, or direction of a machine part.
What are you measuring when testing a fuse? Sample answer. If you can remove a fuse from the circuit, you are measuring resistance, and it is the easiest way to determine if the fuse is blown by continuity testing. Another way to test a fuse is by measuring the voltage across it with a digital multimeter. This is helpful if the fuse is not able to be easily removed from the circuit. What are the types of electrical systems have you worked on the past? I have worked on residential services that use a center tap neutral, various 120 volts lighting, and various plug loads, 240 volt single phase loads for water heater and electric range and air conditioner. And for commercial electrical system, 3-phase 277 and 480 volts and HVAC loads, 120 volt single phase lighting and convenience outlet or plug. Sample answer number 2. I have worked on industrial 3-phase electrical services like 3-phase motor loads and also utility power. Note, industrial and manufacturing plants have 3-phase motor loads and 120 volt single phase lighting and convenience outlet or plug. I have here motor starter that I always have a problem with my overload relay that has always tripped. Do you know how to check overload relay? This is the overload relay, and to check the overload relay using the multimeter, switch to ohms. The 95 and 96 should be closed and the 97 and 98 should be open. If the 95 and 96 is open, and even though you are going to reset, so that means we have a problem with overload relay and need to be replaced. How to tell if your motor has been overloaded? The primary symptoms of motor overload are excessive current draw, insufficient torque, and overheating. Here are few ways to spot overload in your electric motor. Smell. The motor may smell hot or burned during after operation. Listen. Your motor may be louder and have additional vibration As the shaft works harder to the load temperature, the motor temperature will increase above the usual baseline temperature. Motor won't start. If you already have overload measures in place, you'll find that your motor will no longer start because of a tripped circuit breaker or a blown fuse. Question number 1. We have electrical motor control starter with local and remote start. How they are connected and can you draw them? This is the wiring of motor starter with remote stop and start, and the stop, they are connected in series, and the start, they are connected in parallel, and this is the wiring diagram. How do you protect yourself from electrical accidents or injuries? Sample answer. I protect myself by putting safety first. I will use proper tools for the job and protective gear to prevent accident and injury. I've heard about people on the job who lose the respect for electrical power, which is a bad idea. What does a fuse or circuit breaker do? What are the difference between the two? Sample answer. Fuses and circuit breakers are designed to protect the circuit when the current flow exceeded safe levels. Fuses contain a narrow strip of metal which is designed to break when the current exceeds its rated value and interrupt the power to the circuit. Circuit breaker is designed to protect a circuit from overloading or short circuits and can be reset after bimetallic element cooled down. How important are safety regulation and following safety guidelines to you while on the job? Sample answer. Safety and customer satisfaction is my priority. I try to follow the guidelines of the company policy and review them. Additionally, I always make sure to conduct myself in a safe manner while performing my electrical apprentice job, either in residential or commercial job site. You notice some dangerous exposed wires. What do you do? Sample answer. First, you need to inform the affected areas that you are going to turn off the circuit breaker because there is exposed electrical wiring. This will allow you to work safely without hazard of electrical shock. It is important when conducting any electrical wiring to turn off electrical circuit before you touch anything. Technical question. What is OSHA? The OSHA means Occupational Safety and Health Administrations, a large regulatory agency of the United States, require employers to keep their work environment safe for workers. What is meant by IEC and NEMA? The International Electrotechnical Commission, IEC, and the National Electrical Manufacturers Associations, or NEMA, are the international and American bodies, respectively, governing the standard for design, production, and distribution of electrical, electronics, and related technologies, collectively referred to as electrotechnical products. Technical question. How do you change the direction of the motor? In a three-phase induction motor, reversing any two of the three wires will change the rotation direction. What does 14-2 means? Sample answer. 14-2 means 14 gates, 2 insulated current carrying wires, plus bare ground. The two wires usually has a black, white, and bare ground wire. Can you draw a schematic diagram of forward and reverse motor starter? This is an example of forward-reverse motor starter, and this is a control circuit, and this is the power circuit of forward-reverse. Can you draw a schematic diagram of a three-way switch? We have here example of a three-way switch diagram. What is the difference between relay and contactor? The difference between relay and contactor is that a relay is used to control a circuit, while a contactor can be used to control and switching a circuit, and the main purpose of magnetic contactor is used for switching electric motors that draws high electric current. Describe or explain a time when someone got hurt. What did you do? Sample answer. We are working on a ceiling to install some lights in one of our company projects, and accidentally one of our co-workers got electrical shock and fell down the floor and broke his right leg. I quickly got the first aid kit and called 911 and our managers for assistance. Do you have a co-worker that always annoyed you? How do you handle it? Sample answer. Personally, if I have a co-worker that continually annoyed me, I will find some common ground or interest for us to work with, and you should stay out of arguments that would cause a negative impact on your job. And if you cannot handle the situations, address the issue to your supervisor or manager. What does PPE stands for? And can you give me an example? Answer. PPE stands for Personal Protective Equipment. It's protective clothing, helmets, goggles, and other equipments designed to protect human body from injury or infection. What would you do if you saw an employee violating a safety rule? Sample answer number 1. When you see a coworker breaking safety procedure or otherwise acting unsafely, talk to the person in private. Approach your coworker with kindness and understanding that he or she maintains a safe working practice. Number 2, notify your supervisor. If your coworker refuses to listen to you and still doing unsafe practices, talk with your supervisor, share the details such as offender dates, times, and incidents. Technical questions. If a DC motor is connected across an AC source, what will happen? Answers. Direct current flow is obstructed only by resistance, while AC current is obstructed by both resistance and inductive reactance. Therefore, when a DC motor is connected across an AC source, the current on AC will be less than the DC. The motor would run, but it would not carry the same load, and it will spark on the process. Explain the RLC circuit. Answer. RLC circuit, the most fundamental elements like resistor, inductor, and capacitor. This circuit is connected to an AC source. Then it continuously charges across the capacitor and discharges across the inductor. So to make the circuit stable, we use a resistor in the circuit to make the circuit. All of these elements are linear and passive in nature. What is motor generator set? Answer. A motor generator set is driven with both devices mounted on the same plate or base. Sometimes DC motor is driving an alternator or AC motor driving a DC generator. Can you explain the difference between direct and alternating current? Answer. In alternating current, the voltage oscillates between a negative peak and a positive peak, technically known as crest and trough. The voltage of the system is rated by either the peak value or the RMS value. In a DC supply, the current is unidirectional and the voltage is fixed. It has only one positive and one negative terminal, like your car's battery, 12 volts. What is the difference between primary and secondary cell? Answer. Primary cell is a cell that produces electric current from an electromechanical reaction, but is not capable of being recharged. While the secondary cell is a rechargeable electrical cell that converts chemical energy into electrical energy by a reversible chemical reaction, also called storage cell. What is voltage drop? Answer. Voltage drop or potential drop is the decrease of electrical potentials along the path of a current flowing in an electrical circuit. Occurs when the voltage at the end of the run of cable is lower than at the beginning. Eddy currents means current induced in the interior of the conducting masses by variations of magnetic flux. What is open and short circuit? Answer. An open circuit is a break in the circuit or not having a complete path for the flow of electric current, while short circuit is an accidental connections of negligible resistance joining two wires of different polarity of a circuit through which nearly all the current will flow. How many cells are there in a 12 volts car battery and how they are connected? There are 6 cells in a car battery and they are connected in series. And each cell is 2 volts. If battery is connected in series, just add them, equals 12 volts. What is half-wave and full-wave rectifier? Answer. In half-wave rectifier, it passes only one half of an AC wave. And the full-wave rectifier passes both half of the AC waves. Will you be available to work overtime, shift change, swing shift, or grade shift? What is the frequency of a 4-pole alternator driven at 50 Hz? Answer. Ns equals 120 F over P. F stands for frequency. P stands for number of poles. Ns stands for synchronous speed. Ns equals 120 times 50 Hz over 4 equals 1,500 RPM. What does PPE stands for? And can you give me an example? Answer. PPE stands for Personal Protective Equipment. It's protective clothing, helmets, goggles, and other equipments designed to protect human body from injury or infection. What would you do if you saw an employee violating a safety rule? Sample answer number 1. When you see a coworker breaking safety procedure or otherwise acting unsafely, talk to the person in private. Approach your coworker with kindness and understanding that he or she maintains a safe working practice. Number 2, notify your supervisor. If your coworker refuses to listen to you and still doing unsafe practices, talk with your supervisor, share the details such as offender dates, times, and incidents.